My name is Kyle Myers. I'm an athlete, former athlete, coach, father, author, and someone who was told since I was a kid all the things that I wouldn't be able to do. My story starts on a baseball field in New Jersey. There was a routine ground ball. The third baseman scooped it, fires it over to me at first base. But instead of the ball landing in my glove, it hit me square in the chest. The impact of the ball hitting me wasn't the concern. I don't even remember feeling any pain. But it became the catalyst to something that would impact me harder than the ball did. That moment, an uncharacteristic error, was just the start of everything that came after. Within days, I was sitting in front of a neurologist, hearing words no 14-year-old athlete ever expects to hear. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It means you'll usually feel like you already played a game before the game starts. The doctor said you'll get migraines that'll make your ears ring, and sometimes you won't be able to see clearly. Playing sports at a highly competitive level wasn't going to be possible. They encouraged me to quit. But the words that stuck with me, the words that changed the way I saw everything, came from a teammate's father. He was a big guy, heavy presence, always wore gold jewelry and dark shades. He spoke with a thick North Jersey, Long Island type of accent, the kind of voice that made you lean in and listen. He didn't say much, but when he did, it seemed to have more value than what everyone else was saying. "Hey, you ain't no quitter." He said quitter, but his accent, I heard quitter. It made me laugh, but I knew what he meant. And he had my attention. He said, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade." And those words became the philosophy that shaped my life. From then on, it became my responsibility with every opportunity, under any circumstance, to make lemonade. I didn't quit. I didn't quit football. I didn't quit competing. I didn't quit life. Instead, I learned to manage adversity like it was an opponent. I prepared. I studied. I outworked it and prepared my mind to outlast it, the adversity. MS eventually did take baseball from me. I had optic neuritis, a condition that changed depth perception and caused my skills to diminish quickly. I felt like I became non-competitive on the diamond, but it redirected me to the football field, a place where I eventually found purpose, family, and the value of leadership. I was able to run pretty fast, but I was never the fastest. I was strong, but I wasn't the strongest. I was a solid player. I was a serviceable contributor, but I was never the star on my team. I wasn't some prodigy. But I was committed. I did deadlifts and squats until I couldn't stand. I ran the stadium stairs until my legs quit working. I committed to learning new ways to train, new positions. Committed to being a better teammate and a better leader. I committed to still showing up, even when my legs went numb or my vision was blurry. Some days my symptoms would flare when the game was on the line. I started several games that I wasn't able to finish. There were many days that I felt like maybe the doctors were right and I should sit down, but I didn't. If I could stand, I stood, literally. I kept going because resilience is not about being unbreakable. I fell apart many times. But when I couldn't stand, I found other ways to contribute. It's about being unstoppable, even when life's roadblocks force us to change how we move forward. Always forward. And that's a lesson that applies to all of us. Athletes, washed up athletes, students, parents, coaches, executives, all of us. I've reinvented myself. I'm constantly reinventing myself. Our circumstances sometimes cause us to do that. I've never seen it as a bad thing, though. MS redirected me from baseball to football. Football redirected me from running back to linebacker. Coaching redirected me into leadership. Leadership into business, then into higher education. Today, I'm a sports and business administrator working in higher education. I'm from what some people might refer to as a concrete jungle. We didn't have a yard most of my life. We had pavement. We played football in the street and talked trash, a lot of trash. If we ever saw a person with a golf club, it'd be because they're probably going to be using it as a weapon. The sport just wasn't very popular in our neighborhood. But then in 2020, I became the first Black person to manage a golf course in North Dakota, ever. Weird flex, right? I didn't know a damn thing about golf in 2020. I thought a handicap meant you get to park your ball a little closer to the hole and putt before everybody else gets to. Like as a courtesy. But still, somehow, I got the interview to manage a golf course. Then came the offer. Then the keys to the entire operation. So what do you do when you're hired to run a golf course, but you don't know anything about a course or golf? You do exactly what I did. You get up in front of your entire new staff on day one in the first meeting, and you announce to everyone clearly, I don't know what I am doing. The crew laughed, like I was hoping you would, but they also leaned in. There was now a little crack in the old trust doorway, trust corridor, the old trustee transfer. Sorry, I'm kind of corny. I use weird metaphors and examples, but you know what I mean. In my experience, authenticity builds trust faster than perfection does. And together, a rookie golf course general manager, a group of college kids, and a small but experienced grounds crew, we built what became one of the best 9-hole golf courses in our region. We grew revenue. We survived COVID and worked out of a trailer for 5 years after the pandemic squashed the new clubhouse plans that we had at that time. We created a culture that people wanted to be associated with. The grounds crew kept the physical course in high regard. The staff did everything in their power to be a highlight in someone's day. Their effort gave me the time that I needed to go try to figure out what a handicap actually was. We overcame the things that I didn't know with vulnerability, clarity, and encouragement for everyone to be the best leader that they could be in their own role. That was how we defined teamwork. I'd like to share with you some of the things I learned and that I'm still learning. 1, lead with honesty, not ego. When you don't know something, say so. Another person in the room, they might know the answer. People don't respect fake confidence. They connect with realness. Number 2, leadership is service. I don't make the staff clean the bathrooms because it's a role that I'm capable of taking care of myself. I walk deep into the reeds in the spring to collect the garbage that blew in through winter break. I ask the staff to clean up around the edges, the important parts that people actually see. I work besides the staff. I don't just sit up in a high chair and tell them what to do. And leading that way doesn't mean that I'm bad at delegating. I think we all can find our own balance. 3, put people over the position. Some of my proudest moments have nothing to do with revenue or wins. It's when people who I coached or mentored say that they're better because of something that they learned while working alongside me, and it helped them become a better leader and impact other people's lives. That's the kind of leadership that I call significant, and I want to be significant as a leader. And 4, talent earns victories. Culture sustains it. Create a culture where people feel safe, valued, trusted, and your team will exceed your expectations. Create a culture where you don't have to ask staff to pick up the garbage they saw on their walk in. They pick it up not because it's their job, but because of the trust and ownership that they've developed. I was at an administrator event once in Los Angeles amongst hundreds of other college athletic reps. Someone asked, "They got brothers up there in North Dakota?" He pointed to the sky when he said it, trying to be funny. I said, "First of all, joke's on you, North is that way." I don't know, you learn your sense of direction living up there in rural America. They were jokingly serious. I said, "No, they got me." It's progressed since then. It's not just me anymore. But I went on to say that when I don't fit in, I stand out. I take the power out of any awkwardness of being alone. And I flex the power in bringing my whole self, imperfectly bold. There's power in thriving in places where people like you have never been. But the real message is you belong where you work to be. Take no shame in beating everyone else to the spot. And box out when you get there. Take pride in what you've earned. Take pride in who you've become. I was a starting linebacker and 2-year captain for a Division II college football team. I didn't quit when they said it was going to be too hard. Then I coached college football and learned how to really lead. Then I led in business and in higher education. Eventually, I merged all of those skill sets into a pretty dope sports management resume. The ripple effect of resilience and transformation is why I stand here now. My journey has become lifelong. It took me from New Jersey to North Dakota to a place called Point at the Bluffs in the Pacific Palisades. It was this picturesque cliff before the fires on the edge of LA overlooking the Pacific. There I sat next to a stranger on this little bench. It was the perfect spot for a perfect view. We shared a brief conversation about how, although neither of us was from Los Angeles, still a wide range of experiences, adversities, and opportunities brought us both to that same spot at that moment, both watching the most beautiful sunset we've ever seen. Then she said a sentence that defined the way I lived my entire life. It was just a handful of simple words that, when put together in a certain order, can inspire a person to keep going, even when things are the hardest. Can keep a person fighting, moving forward, finding a way to stand even when they are numb. She said, "Hey, I ain't no quitter." I'm just kidding. That's not what she said. She said, "Being here right now, getting to see this is the result of me constantly doing the best that I can with what I have, where I am." And it hit me. That's it. That's the story. That's my story, your story. That's everyone's story. Whether you're fighting multiple sclerosis or any other debilitating condition, or if the odds seem to always be stacked against you, or if you failed, but you've had the courage to get yourself up and try again. The journey won't be perfect, but the view you'll have once you persevere will be perfect. I encourage you to continue showing up, to turn your lemons into lemonade, to be resilient, and in each chapter of your life, make it your responsibility to do the best you can with what you have, where you are, because you ain't no quitter. Thank you. I do want to thank the Grand Forks YMCA Football Academy for supporting my story. Anyone can learn more or support the project on pretty much any social media platform.